Welcome to That's Good Sports. I am Brandon Perna, and if Julian Edelman is a Hall of Famer, then so is Jeremy Maclin, who has more career receiving yards than Edelman. Marshall Faulk has more receiving yards than Julian Edelman, and he's a damn running back. And maybe worst of all, Chris Collinsworth finished his career with just 124 fewer yards than Edelman, and he did that in Cincinnati. Now here's a guy who should definitely not be in the Hall of Fame. Now before you get angry, Patriots fans, I think Edelman had an amazing career. I know he did, based on how much I hated watching him get open every single third down. But the Hall of Fame debate is crazy, and I'll make a case today for why his teammate, Wes Welker, is more deserving of the honor. I mean, Welker had to play when receivers still had big shoulder pads. Plus, we've got Kevin James and the terrible, terrible Britt Reid story. That's good. Sports. Please subscribe to this YouTube channel, and if you can, please check out my Best Named Players episode. The offensive version is up now. The defensive version will be up tonight or tomorrow morning, and it's one of my favorite videos I do every year, and it's incredibly stupid, but I like it. Today's episode is sponsored by buyraycon.com/thatsgood, which will save you 15% when you use my link in the description. When you treat your ears to the delight that is Raycon, you are supporting this channel. You know that, but you might not know that Raycon was co-founded by Ray J and other notables like J.R. Smith and Mike Tyson. Now, Tyson makes sense because I'm pretty sure if I took a Tyson punch to the face, my Raycons would stay in place. That's how comfortably secure they fit into the side of your head. Plus, you get 45 days to test them and decide if they're right for you. Raycon's wireless earbuds give you 6 hours of playtime and the freedom to get away from screens or just tune out the noise of your life with their noise isolating fit. I use them to edit, to work out, and to fall asleep with while listening to a podcast. So go to buyraycon.com/thatsgood to get 15% off your Raycon order. Now, just a few days ago, there was a trend on Twitter going around asking people what actor would play them in a biopic. I'm wondering what Sean Payton thought. Maybe someone like Johnny Depp, Paul Rudd, even Ben Stiller. Ben Stiller actually makes a lot of sense. Wrong. This isn't a hypothetical for Sean Payton, it's a real scenario, and the guy playing him is Paul Blart, the King of Queens, Kevin James. Netflix is making a movie about Bountygate and Sean Payton's suspension back in 2012. And James is going to be doing the dramatic, heavy lifting as the Saints coach himself. Sure, he's not known for his dramatic roles, but have you seen how convincing he was in Becky, the 2020 thriller about a neo-Nazi invading a teenage girl's home? An absolute tour de force, and I'm hoping his work as Sean Payton will be just as magnetic. I would like to note that this is not just a Kevin James vehicle, this is a Happy Madison production. And if you're unfamiliar, Happy Madison has given us such gems as Happy Gilmore, Billy Madison, Mr. Deeds, Little Nicky, Jack and Jill, both grown-ups, and of course, Hubie Halloween. And I can't wait to see Adam Sandler playing Greg Williams, David Spade as Drew Brees, and Rob Schneider as Roger Goodell. Moving on to something terrible, Britt Reid, Chiefs outside linebackers coach and son Andy Reid has officially been charged with a felony DWI and could face up to 7 years in prison after the accident that critically injured a child the week of the Super Bowl back in February. Now, I haven't really talked about this story because it's incredibly sad. The accident that Reid is responsible for left a 5-year-old girl with severe brain damage. She was in a coma and she may never recover. Reid hit their parked car going over 80 miles per hour. Britt Reid said he had 2 or 3 drinks, and the police report shows that he blew a .11 blood alcohol level. Look, I've been drinking long enough to know you don't blow a .11 after 2 to 3 drinks. That's closer to the 6 to 7 range. What could be even more screwed up, if it isn't enough already, is that Reid admitted he was leaving work when he got into the accident. Work being the Chiefs' facility. That means the Chiefs could eventually become liable because you have to ask the question, how the fuck does a guy work up a BAC of .11 at work? If that's a normal thing for him, then the Chiefs become liable for enabling that and not getting him home safely. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers are returning every starter from their Super Bowl winning team last year, and now they're adding the best mustachioed running back money can buy, Giovanni Bernard. Bernard was drafted back in 2013 by the Bengals and has been their third down back for the last 8 years. He's now going to assume LaShawn McCoy's role, which is to say, he's going to have the chance to carry the ball 10 times and get a Super Bowl ring out of it. Gardner Minshew has done what any QB who is about to be replaced by the first overall pick in the draft would do. He's turned himself into the Derek Zoolander of hillbilly models. Now, I already coined the phrase swamp chic and Dolce & Gabbana, but these new photos made me realize something. I have realized I am gay, and I need to have a long talk with my wife. Speaking of relationships ending, after 12 years in New England, wide receiver Julian Edelman is officially calling it quits after failing a physical due to chronic knee issues. Sad to see another player end his career early because of chronic. The interesting thing here is the Patriots cut Edelman before he retired, which means if his knee stops smoking weed and feels good, say come October, Julian could magically unretire and join the Buccaneers as they try and repeat as Super Bowl champions, which if they employ Julian Edelman over Antonio Brown, I'll actually be okay with it. Had the Patriots not cut him, they would have retained his rights, so even if he unretired, he would have to get cleared by them to go play for another team. Now he's free to do whatever he wants. But with his retirement comes the great debate. Is Julian Edelman a Hall of Famer? That's the question you're about to hear from delusional Patriots fans for the next 5 years. The answer is, of course, no, but Julian Edelman did have a very nice career that involved 3 Super Bowls and 1 Super Bowl MVP that should have gone to Stephon Gilmore, but who's really counting? Before I explain why Edelman isn't a Hall of Famer, you have to understand I respect the hell out of his career. You can think someone is a great player, but also not a Hall of Famer, and not just to try and shit on that guy. It's like we live in this world where if you say Julian Edelman isn't a Hall of Famer, it's because you're a hater. No, it's just because you respect the game of football and what the Hall of Fame means. Anyway, unlike Brady, I liked the way Julian played the game. He was a tough tactician who was a machine on third down that tried just a little too hard to be Tom Brady's bestie. To me, it's pretty simple. If Wes Welker gets into the Pro Football Hall of Fame, then you can consider Edelman. Both receivers played 11 seasons, and Wes Welker leads Edelman in every statistical category except for passing. Edelman did something very few NFL players do. He retired with a perfect passer rating. Belichick never even let Wes Welker attempt to pass. So if you want to put Edelman in the Hall of Fame as a quarterback, we can have that conversation. Edelman may have finished with Hall of Fame numbers had he been able to start ahead of Wes Welker during his first 4 years in the league. Now, I hated watching Edelman because he was really good. I'd call him a top 10 receiver in the league during his prime. Not top 10 all time, but in the league. But I think the tragedy here is people forget how good Wes Welker was before Edelman in the exact same role. Welker walked so Julian could fly. Welker got concussed so Julian could fly, is what I meant to say. Welker gets a bad rap for not catching that shitty wrong shoulder throw by Brady in the Super Bowl. And even though Edelman has higher receiving numbers in the postseason, It's mainly because he played in 6 more postseason games than Welker, and the two are actually tied for 5 touchdowns apiece. Plus, Welker had a much better catch percentage in the postseason, 75.9 to Edelman's 65.6, so Welker caught 10% more of the passes thrown to him in the playoffs. But let's ignore that, because that happened like a long time ago. In the regular season, Edelman isn't even close to competing with Welker statistically. Wes had 5,000 plus yard seasons to Julian's 3. Welker caught over 100 balls 5 times, Julian just 2 seasons. Shit, Welker caught over 120 balls in 2 seasons. 50 touchdowns to Edelman's 38, nearly 3,100 more receiving yards at 9,924 to Julian's 6,822. Do you know what Wes Welker never did? Finish in the top 3 for most drop passes in the league 5 times. Welker only did that 3 times, which says more about Brady's ball placement than anything. Most importantly, Welker even did drugs better than Julian Edelman. Wes Welker was suspended for popping Molly at the Kentucky Derby, and Julian Edelman was suspended for cheating with PEDs. And I'm sure as fuck not going to look it up, but I can tell you right now, Julian Edelman would be the only Hall of Famer to never make a single Pro Bowl in his career. And that doesn't include the guys that are in the Hall before the Pro Bowl existed. And maybe the most asinine argument for Edelman going to the Hall of Fame is that he won more Super Bowls than Wes Welker. Since when did we start crediting wide receivers with Super Bowl wins? Edelman is the greatest example of recency bias I've ever seen for making a Hall of Fame case. Julian Edelman made one insane catch to bail Tom Brady out of a Super Bowl loss. And Welker, well, he did the opposite. Edelman has to be the only offensive skill player to win Super Bowl MVP without scoring a fucking touchdown. The lowest scoring Super Bowl in NFL history, and they give the award to a wide receiver? As Andrew Mason pointed out, Broncos wide receiver Rod Smith had nearly twice as many touchdowns, 71 total TDs, 11,389 receiving yards, won 2 Super Bowls, and in Super Bowl 33 had 11 more receiving yards than Edelman did when he won the Super Bowl, plus a touchdown. Again, I respect the hell out of the way Edelman played the position, but it's a leap to go from being a great wide receiver to a Hall of Famer when guys like Rod Smith, Reggie Wayne, and Tory Holt still await induction. Patriots fans love to point out Reggie Wayne as an elite weapon Peyton Manning had, while poor Tom Brady won with chopped liver. It can't be both, Pats fans. Edelman can't be a Hall of Famer, and Tom Brady can't have one without any fucking receivers. You gotta pick one. That's all I ask. And it's not even just those 3 receivers ahead of Julian Edelman on the Hall of Fame list. Edelman has a Hall of Fame monitor score of 36.18. I won't pretend to know exactly what that means, but Pro Football Reference puts it out, and it's basically the percentage chance of getting elected to the Hall of Fame. Julian is a 36. Reggie Wayne and Tory Holt, both over 100, and hell, little old Wes Welker has a 55.63 chance to get in. Almost 20% more. And that's just based on facts and stats. But all that said, congrats to Julian Edelman on a great career, and I mean that sincerely. Thanks for watching That's Good Sports. Please subscribe here on YouTube. And don't forget to check out the best named players in the draft video. It is up on the screen right now.